Hello everyone, this is The Last of Us grounded difficulty, no upgrades, no damage. And this is actually good quality mic here. Unfortunately my previous commentary had problems in the mic and I have to redo this commentary, so I'm going to try my best to repeat I guess everything that I talked about, though I don't know if it's worth it. I should actually redo anything. I mean, actually, okay. I don't. Today my brain is like, bruh, because I just had to. I had so many problems with audio, and I could salvage the second video, and I'm a little bit like tired, I guess. But I still want to do this commentary because I love this game, and it's worth it to do it again. I wouldn't want it to get ruined by really bad mic quality. Even though the commentary was very audible still, it was clear, but there was that sound in the background that was like so there's that. And in the second part of this video, which I recorded, before this, the audio is still going to be a little bit bad, but it's not that bad, not as bad as the other time. But yeah, I'm going to go through the gameplay, and as you can see, I'm going for the melee in this game. This is the best way to tackle the situations in this game. It's the only way to do this stealth and not waste too much ammo. And another thing that I want to say is that I should have said that at the beginning, but there's going to be a no commentary version of this run. If you don't like too much editing and and you want to see everything about the game, like all the cutscenes, all the exploration, all the immersion, it'll be in the description. If you want that, I would recommend to see that, because it deserves it. I respect this game. This game is very amazing in terms of atmosphere and story and stuff like that, and immersion. So there's that too. And as you can see, I am using a lot of the melee. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be, focusing on this challenge run, I guess, on the melee. The melee is going to be maybe like in the beginning. I'm going to use it a lot, especially on human enemies. More towards the end of the game, I will be more aggressive with my guns, and the guns in this game are very, very good. So especially on this difficulty. But I will still try to not waste a lot of ammo by stunning the enemies and using that stun to kill them faster with a strike attack. In this game there's 3 ways to kill enemies with melee. One of them is to punch them normally. That's the way that takes the longest to kill, and you will be exposed to danger, so I wouldn't recommend doing that unless there's like one enemy, or if you're 100% sure that it will work, or if you want to just get past an enemy, so you punch him 2 times, then you cancel out of your animation and do it that way. So the second way to kill the enemies with melee is to stun them, and you can do this in a lot of ways. You can use the bottles and the bricks to stun them. That's a very effective way to do it. The bricks and bottles are basically special weapons. They're a free kill weapon basically. And the other way to do it is like how I did right now. So you can stun them with the bricks and bottles. That's the best way. And there's the way that you can stun them with the pistol, especially with this pistol, because this is the weakest pistol. So it's the pistol I'm going to use for the stuns. The revolver is the strongest handgun, I guess, and it can kill human enemies in 1 hit. So the revolver will be for situations, more long-range situations where I need to kill an enemy and need them to die in 1 hit basically, and only works on grounded difficulty. Only grounded difficulty gives you that chance to use gives you the ability to kill enemies in one hit with almost every powerful weapon, like the rifle and the revolver. Another way to kill the enemies with melee is by using. It's a very weird way. I mean, it's not weird. It's not like it's not intentional. It's actually a very nice attention to detail. And that way, I think I'm going to do it here. Let me see if I do it here. Basically, what you need to do is to run and use that momentum to strike an enemy with the melee. It works the best with melee weapons. It can work too with with your normal melee, with with Joel's fists. But it works really the best with a melee weapon. You run and use that momentum to. Joel uses that momentum to strike the enemy with all his strength, and it's almost the same as hitting them with the bottle. So it's very powerful, and it's attention to detail, and I like it a lot. I really like that attention to detail. Even though it's not a very reliable strategy against a lot of enemies, especially the infected, because if you're alone and you don't have an AI partner, infected will be on you all the time. You can't really run away and then run towards the infected again, because once the infected find you, there's no escaping. They will be on you. So using that on the infected only when there's an AI partner, because infected can how do you say it? I forgot. What is it? You can okay. They'll basically have all their attention in the AI, in your AI partner, and you can use that to run towards them and just finish them off with a melee. And that's basically the three main ways that you can finish enemies with melees. And of course that the best way is to use the gun to stun enemies and do this, and the bottles, so you can just finish them off with just 2 attacks maximum. Like, you don't want to get more. Look, did you see what I did here? I used the thing I was talking about. I ran and used that momentum to strike him, and it killed him in one hit. I don't know if that's like consistent with the humans, because I remember even with the melee weapon, I remember it took like at least 2 hits. So maybe he was weakened. I don't know. Maybe Tess took a little bit of his health. It can happen. You can kill enemies not expecting it because your AI partner took a little bit of his health, and since the AI partner doesn't do a lot of damage to the enemies in this game, they can put enemies sometimes in near death. So yeah. Another thing that I have to talk about this run is that it will be in the description, but I will talk here, is that I won't be doing stealth. I'm going to do more of a action playstyle. I'm going to be as action as I can. I will use stealth when the encounters are just a little bit too much for me, or if I don't have ammo. But I will always try to do a lot of noise and get the enemy's attention. Even if I use stealth mechanics, at least I need to get the enemy's attention. I can't like be sneaky. So that's one of the, I guess, challenge you can say. I'm not going to say this is more challenging, even though I say in the description it's a little bit more challenging because you're more exposed to danger when the enemies are aware of you. I'm not taking the difficulty away from doing the game only stealth. That's not what I mean. I just think that it's at least a little bit more difficult, especially for a first time, and you will waste more ammo than you will do in stealth. So you are kind of making it a little bit more difficult for yourself. So yeah, there's just that. The other thing is, I was going to plan to do this no upgrades on everything, like every category of upgrades, but unfortunately I think it was at the end of the game. I picked up a manual. I think it was a smoke bomb manual or a Molotov. I think I picked up two actually. I picked up two manuals, but I missed the checkpoint, so I couldn't like go back to the checkpoint and not pick it up. So yeah, there's that. So the no upgrades on this video is going to be only for the crafting, which I think I get more specific in the description, like the crafting and the what is it? Oh, the supplements. So I won't be using those. The crafting is a little bit more powerful in this game than The Last of Us 2, because in The Last of Us 2, you can like crafting doesn't give you like the holster, the second holster, and having a second holster helps you a lot, like really, really a lot. The second holster in The Last of Us 2 is you pick up randomly in random locations. There's, I think, as a collectible. So I won't be using that here because I won't craft the holsters on the bench. What there is there anything more about challenge in this game? I don't think there's anything more. There's no obviously there's no damage. And I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. And this is going to be technically the first video that I'm going to do this new type of commentary, new editing type of commentary. And by the way, this is one of those parts where I'm going to be the most stealthy, even though I wasn't really that stealthy. I was running and stuff like that, but they didn't detect me, so technically I did this part stealth. And this is one of those parts that I didn't really I don't think it's worth to do it action, so yeah. But don't worry, I will do 19% of this game action, so I will do the most of it in action mode. So there's anything more? Oh yeah, the editing type stuff. I'm going back to edit my videos like I did on my early days of making no damage runs, with the editing type of only the fights, because that's the only thing that matters. But instead of doing that without commentary, I will do that with the commentary, and it makes everything easier for me, basically, because the commentaries will be short. It's going to be like I've done this for two games. I did it for Devil Within 2, Devil Within 1, which I have to redo the commentary too because I messed up in that one too, which is great. And that was 2 hours and a half, maybe 2 hours and 40 minutes. I don't remember. It was around that, the footage that I had of gameplay, of all the edited gameplay. And this one is basically the same. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. So it's very easy for me to commentate 2 hours and 20 minutes instead of 4 hours. And if I went with the same route as I did with the other games, like include everything minus the cutscenes, I guess I would take out the cutscenes from this. It would be 7 hours at least. No, not 7 hours, like 9 hours. I mean, without the cutscenes, maybe 7 hours, 6 hours. My no commentary is literally, is literally 9 hours. I think it's nine and a half hours. So imagine me commentating 9.5 hours, or if I took out the cutscenes, like me commentating a 7-hour video. I'm not like Carsey. Like Carcinogen SDA is, I don't know why it does. It does it. I kind of took influence from him in that doing the whole video, and even though for this I'm doing 4 parts because PlayStation Share or PlayStation Factory doesn't let you do more than 1 hour. But the thing is, I took a little bit of I guess, what do you say, influence with his with the way that he does the videos. But the thing I don't understand is he includes the cutscenes in the commentary version, and I don't get that because he doesn't even commentate in the cutscenes. He literally will mute his mic for the entire cutscene, and sometimes for entire sections of the game where nothing is happening. He sometimes mute the audio. Especially, I remember you doing that on the Alien Isolation. I think it was a speed run or no damage run. No, it was a no damage run. It did that and was like, then why would you bother doing that? I mean, Alien Isolation, maybe it's a little bit trickier to edit only the fighting bits, but it does it for every video, so I don't understand. It did I think it did a Dead Rising commentary too. It was like 7 hours long, and it didn't commentate on the cutscenes. But why would you do that? Like, maybe it's content for his stream, so he can make his streams, full length. Yeah, maybe that's that, because I think he commentates at least most of his stuff on stream. So I guess that makes sense, but still, I wouldn't suffer through it. Even if I had to mute my mic, it's like, I don't know. But yeah. I don't think there was anything hard until now. That clicker room was very easy. You just need to attract every clicker into the back of that room and then run here. This part is, I think this is a mandatory fight. I think if you leave this place and you go up there, maybe they will grab your AI partner and you are forced to come here to save them. The game does that sometimes in a few sections if you go through it a little bit too fast. But that's this game basically. This game is like using the bottles and bricks as a really good weapon to kill enemies instantly with the melee. And that's going to be it. With the humans, a little bit more complicated. I think the humans are the hardest enemies in this game. They are a little bit more complex because the way that you want to tackle them, like I'm doing here, I'm being a little bit more safer and less aggressive on my melee because they have weapons, and enemies with weapons are very, very dangerous. You don't want to, challenge an enemy with a weapon. You don't want to do like I do with Infected, right? Run straight to an enemy. If you run straight to an enemy with a weapon without a break, you're just going to YOLO it. You're going to get shot. There's no other way about it. The only part on this game that I was so lucky about that was on the Pittsburgh section and on that sniper section. Oh shit! I'm hearing noise outside. There's people like talking and shit and like talking loud. It's kind of breaking my concentration. But all right, doesn't matter. But yeah, and that Pittsburgh section, the sniper section, I did it like rushing, and you'll see it in my commentary. We'll talk about it, and you'll see how lucky I was. I literally challenged the enemy with a gun without using. I mean, I had a break, but I still was a little bit. I had a slow reaction, and he shot me first, but he missed me, and I could land the break successfully and stun him. It was so lucky. It will be in the second part of this run, and it's already commentated, so which is weird, and it's sad because I don't like doing this again, doing a second commentary, because I think the first one is the genuine one, the one you're most genuine about. When you're redoing it, the advantage of redoing it actually is to make better commentary, and it's going to be a little bit disconnected with the second part of this commentary. But I think I like the genuinity more than because if I want to get better, I will get better in the next project, I guess. Even though that's a really bad mindset to have towards creation and create, being a creative person, I guess. But I have other things to do, in terms of creation and creating. Those things are way more important to me than doing these YouTube videos, unfortunately, because I fucking love doing YouTube videos. But that doesn't matter. This section is very tricky, and then I barely talked about it. What you need to know about this is that do not be aggressive, because every enemy in this place has a gun. So use everything that you have. Don't worry if you waste a lot of ammo, because the game will to me, I'm a person that wastes a lot of ammo, and I still got through this game very easily. There wasn't like any moment, well, except for one moment that I will talk about in part 2, which it came like soft locks because I didn't have ammo. I did this, so I will recommend you to do your best with everything that you have, because I did my best with everything I have, and my best is like being average, like aiming average, or sometimes under average. Sometimes my aiming is really bad, so if I can do it, you can do it. It's easy. But if you really want to conserve ammo, you can go for the stealth. Do as much stealth as you can, and you will have really good chances of getting through this game. I was actually the first time that I actually did a no damage run, half of a no damage run of this game before. It never made it to YouTube, of course, because it never made it. I had to delete it because I wasn't really happy, and it was a total stealth kind of challenge, and it was very good. I like the stealth in this game. The stealth in this game is amazing, but I still think that this game is in its best when it's on combat, because I guess it's my love for Resident Evil speaking, because this game is so Resident Evil, better than any modern Resident Evil that came out like in the past 4 years. I love Resident Evil 7, but this game it goes way beyond what Resident Evil 7 did, and I like Resident Evil 7. I respect that game, I really do, but this game it goes way and beyond in its mechanics and the playability. And they're two different games, of course. I'm not going to be here and compare two different games, but I'm just getting that out there. It's like when people compare the story of The Last of Us 1 with the stories of The Last of Us 2, and to me they're two different stories. You can't even compare it. I think you should look at them as their own stories, and if you're going to make comparisons, you're not looking at it right. It's two different themes, two different games basically, even though the games are similar, and the sequel is actually, it's similar but it's way better. Like in terms of mechanics and gameplay, the sequel is it's so good. And that's that. And there's this, and when I make The Last of Us 2 run, I will talk more about what I think about that game. God damn, what the hell is going on outside? I hope you can hear this noise, because I'm not going from shit quality mic because of shit mic, from a shit background noise that's equal to a shit mic noise. Someone is cutting grass or something like that. It's kind of annoying. I hope it doesn't pick up. So this section is just one of those gimmick sections, like on rail, but you're not on rails section. You just need to defend Ellie. There's no danger to you. I mean, there is danger to you, but it's not that bad. You can stun enemies very easily. Before they can get to you, and they die very quickly. And you have infinite ammo, I think. Even though Ellie gives you bullets, I think that's just a small detail, so that you don't worry about bullets. But I think it's infinite. They give you infinite bullets in that section. So now you need to run away. So you have 14 bullets though. Maybe it's infinite, but what Ellie gives you, it stays with you. So it's not just a small detail. I guess it's a bonus, I guess. Maybe it's to complement to, or to, how do you say it? Compliment? No. Oh, and then now there's a truck. I guess you could say compliment the fact that you're going to fight in here and you're going to need it, I guess. Even though you don't really going to need it that much. Oh yeah, the clickers die very quickly with any melee weapon. I mean, very quickly. They die the same way as any other infected. The only difference is that they won't grab you with the melee. One thing that I like about this sequel is that you can stun clickers by shooting him in the head and then finish them off like that. It's so good. That's a literal Resident Evil mechanic. So good. I wonder if you can do that. I never tested it in here. When you shoot clickers on the head in this game, they get, I guess they flinch a little bit, but they go straight for that flailing animation. They will flail their arms like immediately. And even if you could use it to, I guess, use the stun to melee them, they would cancel out your melee and would grab you immediately. And here I am using the mechanic I was talking about, that I forgot how to say. How is it called? Using the momentum to your advantage and striking the enemies. I use that a lot in here because there's a lot of enemies, and I'm going to use the fact that I have 2 AI partners with me. AI partners in this game are not as, I mean, they are very reliable, but they are not as reliable as in the sequel. In the sequel, they do a lot of damage to enemies, and that's very good. I like when games do that. In this game, they almost do. I mean, they do some damage, I guess, but they don't do a lot of damage. I mean, Bill literally has to slice a normal infected like 3 times or 4 times to kill them with a melee weapon that kills enemies instantly. It doesn't matter what type of enemy it is. So they do very reduced damage, but the only good thing about them is that the infected will go for them a lot. They almost go for them more than they go for you, and that's very good because you can use that as to your advantage. You can use that to do more melee and don't use your gun a lot. So yeah, there's this section. This section is not that bad. This section, you can do this very easily. You just need to aim your gun and you know, and just go through here. The only problem that I have with this section is that it's so slow and boring. I was planning to do it. I was planning to do it action mode, but then I discovered that the checkpoint is kind of weird in this part. The checkpoint, sometimes the game doesn't checkpoint you here. It took me quite a few tries to get a checkpoint in here. So I was like, so I would rather pass that clicker room stealthily than going through the action way and then getting here and die and just restarting everything. Especially when doing the action way takes longer than the stealth way. Some sections can be a little bit boring because I'm doing it non-stealth, and yeah, I apologize for that, but that's the challenge that I took. I need to go with it till the end. And of course not like a definite challenge, like I need to do it, you know. It's just something that I want to do as much as I can. Not that I'm forced to do it, because I don't want to ruin this game in a lot of parts. Imagine in that clicker room I had to go through it like the action way all the time. Can you imagine that? I would probably not like this game. So this is not bad. Use the shotgun for the clickers. There's one thing I need to talk about this game. Well, if the guys outside will let me talk. Jesus Christ, that stuff does a lot of noise. What the hell are they doing? They're just laughing and shit. they're I don't know. They have like a chainsaw, kind of type thing, a chainsaw type bit, and they're like laughing. Dude, I'm scared. I think Resident Evil's made me traumatized of chainsaws, like for real. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is the power of the weapons of this game, and the power of weapons in survival horror games in general. Seriously, survival horror games have the best weapons. Like they literally have the best weapons, the best feeling weapons, and the best weapons in terms of usefulness. Because the weapons in horror games are those things that you need to respect it. Because sorry about that. I hope they didn't make a lot of noise. You need to respect them because you cannot just use them, randomly and hope for the best, like I'm doing here. Lol for the action. And I'm just kidding. I'm using some kind of strategy at least. But what I want to say is that, especially with the shotguns, but the shotgun in this game, the spread is kind of, but still, if you are, close enough to an enemy, the shotgun in this game is like, oh, so good. But shotguns in video games, especially survival horror games, are the best feeling shotguns ever, and the best shotguns in terms of use. I played quite a few FPS games in my time, and never I would think about using a shotgun or thinking that the shotgun was a powerful weapon. The shotgun is probably the most flaccid, the most useless weapon I've seen in a FPS game, and you might disagree. I mean, I played FPS games casually and never went it hardcore or explored too much of its mechanics with all the weapons. But my opinion on my playstyle, shotguns felt so underpowered and so like flaccid because they are short ranged, and I don't playing FPS like in a short range. That's a little bit of that's kind of rare. Like especially if you play Call of Duty, everyone uses ranged weapons. So and single player maybe, but even still in single player, you can't even control what you use in single player and CODs. So whatever. And Battlefields, not even Battlefields. Maybe there's I don't know. I don't really play a lot of FPS, but that's what I from my experience, I think the only game that I think the shotgun is very, very powerful, but it's a survival horror too. It's an FPS, but it's a survival horror. It's Fear. Fear's shotgun is Fear's shotgun is amazing. Fear and Trepang 2. Trepang 2. Ooh, the shotgun Trepang 2 is good. So fucking good. But those are survival horror games, so doesn't count. What other games like FPS games? Maybe Rainbow Six 3. Rainbow Six 3, a 2000s game. I remember the shotgun being meaty. Feeling good was that sound, that really strong sound. But that's it. That's it for FPS. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, there's a lot of people with more experience on shotguns in FPS than me. But survival horror games just do it for me. And especially this game. Look at this. Like the spray of blood is like, oh, so good. The spray. The impact. It kills a clicker in one hit. Look at this. Boom. The lightning is kind of bad, so you can't really see the spray of blood too well. But God, it's so, especially when you use it in human enemies and the guts spill out. It's such a powerful weapon. It's a powerful weapon, and it's a weapon that feels good. Like visual design, visual feedback is like, oh, amazing. And you need to respect the weapon, especially in The Last of Us. The Last of Us is that survival horror game where you need to respect the weapon. Like, you might relate to what I'm going to say now. When you played this game for the first time and you tried oh, that was close, and you tried the weapons, my initial reaction was, holy shit, this is strong. This is like, I'm not going to use this all the time because it's a weird thing. I don't know if anyone can relate to what I'm saying, and this is why maybe a lot of people do this game more stealth than using the weapons, because when you use the weapons in this game, feel that you feel that you're wasting something, that you should use it for the emergencies, like the real emergencies, because the weapons are so scary to use because they are so strong. You can feel the impact because the sound design of the weapons in this game and the visual feedback, it's so good, especially with the rifle. And this is the only rifle in a survival horror game that I feel that has impact like that. Just see that, like, every weapon in this game has impact. It's like you can feel it. The way that the camera kind of shakes, even though I hate camera shake in games, but in these games, like, it's not obstructive. It's like a tilt, kind of a tilt, a little small tilt, and it's like, and I think it does that with every weapon. Like, it's a very, it depends in the weapon and in its strength. It's very. Look, I was going to about to do that. I need to confirm. I need to see if I'm not talking bullshit. Lol. I know the camera. It's a visual design. Look. Yeah, it does that like that. It's very small, but you can feel it. But yeah, I think this is the only survival horror game that has a good feeling sniper, not like a good sniper in terms of usefulness, because survival horror game snipers are very good. But in terms of visual feedback, I think this is the best rifle that in survival horror games. Look at this. The weapons just feel so good. Like, Resident Evil 5 probably has a Resident Evil 5, the first sniper, the bolt action sniper. I guess it's kind of has that kind of visual feedback, especially when Chris pushes the bolt. That's very, I like it. It's very strong. Anything that you push a bolt to me is like very strong, very good, very manly for some reason. The other snipers in Resident Evil 5 are weak, I think. Like the Dragunov is weak. I like the when you the headshots in that game. The heads explode with the sniper, and you feel good because you're accurate. But still, it just doesn't really feel that much. The last sniper doesn't feel as good too. Again, don't get me wrong; they are very good snipers in terms of usefulness. Especially the last sniper, the semi-automatic sniper, I think it is. It's that gray one, the last one that you can collect. That one is very, very powerful to use in encounters. Just the fact because you don't need to wait too much for like it to recharge, I guess. Where's the Resident Evil 4 has a sniper rifle, if I'm not mistaken. How many has it? I don't remember. My memories of Resident Evil 4 and 5 are so foggy because I haven't played those games in years. Let me see. I think it only has one sniper rifle, and it's the equivalent of Resident Evil 5's last sniper rifle. Well, I think it's. I don't know. I can't really tell, but it doesn't sound. I don't remember it being that, much special or that good feeling. Again, very useful, but not that good feeling. And still, if you're going for a no-store run, that game you won't get that sniper anyway. Oh, that was. I'm glad that the clicker was on build. But did you see a few moments back when I shot that zombie, that spray of blood just spilled out? Ah, it's like a rain, a small cloud of blood is so good. I think this is the best shotgun in terms of like visual feedback in survival horror games, in terms of gore, how enemies react to it. It's a shame that it doesn't spread much, so you can use it for crowd control. It's you kind of have that disadvantage in this game. You need to use it very closely because shotguns in this game at long range are not very good compared to Resident Evil shotguns. Let me see. Devil Within 1 has a really good sniper in terms of visual feedback. And it's not much either because you are mostly looking through a scope. And I think even in The Last of Us, when you use the sniper, especially the sniper in that house, when you do that section of protecting Sam and Henry, you're only looking through a scope, but you still feel it. You still feel the strength. I think it's all about the sound design of this game, the weapon sound design, and the tracing. Oh, the tracing is so fucking good. The bullet tracing they use in this game, like that smoke trail. Oh, it's so good. It's the design. The design in this game is just it's meaty. It's good. But anyway, Devil Within actually uses sound design to its advantage to make the sniper rifle feel very good. And the thing about the sniper rifle in Devil Within is when you do a headshot, and even if it's not a headshot, but I think it's more with headshots. Anyway, I wouldn't use the sniper for anything else in Devil Within unless it's an emergency. It's all headshots. You need to make the sniper rifle count for those headshots. You do those headshots, and then there's like that sound that plays. It's pure sound design. It's not like realistic. It's pure sound design to make it feel good. And it's like that. You know the sound that hit markers do in Call of Duty. That sound that does in the hit markers. You might have know because there's like that hit marker meme that was going around in the MLG days, the montage parody days. You know that sound. Devil Within does that sound when you do a headshot, but it's a little bit more stronger. It's a little bit more meaty. You can feel it, like you can. That's like, and it's very subtle too. But you can hear it. It's a subtle, audio design, but you can feel it. It's very good. And then there's the sound of the enemy's head exploding. Devil Within has that. There's that sound of the head exploding, which is another very satisfying sound. So you are combining two very satisfying sounds in. And this, I can't melee them. This happens to me like 2 times in this game. Specific times that, and I couldn't melee enemies when they were begging, and those specific times happen literally in the last encounter and in this encounter, so 2 times in a row. And the last encounter, it kind of screwed me. It really did screw me because it was such a tricky encounter. Oh, that was close. It was such a tricky encounter, and at the end I was like so relieved. I was okay, this is the last enemy. I wanted to melee him. It was like begging for mercy. I was trying to melee him, but I wasn't doing. Joel wasn't doing this animation, and then he recovered from it. The enemy recovered from it, and he fucked me. I was so pissed. That's why I was a bit careful and didn't mash on the last part, because I learned with my mistake. But talking about the sniper rifles in Devil Within, the sound design, the meaty, you combining those two very satisfying sound designs. It's like, then the rest is all visual design. The head exploding in Devil Within is the best head explosion that I've seen in games. It's so good. Devil Within has the best gore system I've seen, even though it's so unrealistic and that kind of jelly. People say that it's like jam. It's like jam. I agree, and that's why it's so good. It's so visceral. The jam like gore. It's so visceral. When the head explodes, it's like you can feel it. It just splatters everywhere. It looks like jam, but it looks goddamn pretty. It's style. It has very style, a unique art style, you can say. And that's the way the Evil Within does. Very good feeling sniper rifle. And this game, in this game, I don't use the sniper as a long-ranged weapon, or the sniper. I mean, the rifle in this case is because it doesn't snipe, doesn't have a scope. I use it as like a normal weapon, but it is a rifle. But when you shoot enemies in the head in this game with the rifle, it feels good too. Not as good as Evil Within, but it feels good. The way that the enemy's head explode, and the hit markers. I love the hit markers in this game. The headshot hit markers is the most satisfying hit marker I've seen in video games. Like those, it's so good. I can explain all those dots appearing on the reticle. It's so satisfying. It's saying you did something impressive. Look at all these dots. You did something good. It's like the scoring in Call of Duty. When you score in multiplayer, that's that feeling, that visual feedback it makes you play better. It makes that illusion that you're doing so good. And my favorite one was Modern Warfare 3. I played Modern Warfare 3 the most, and it was all those numbers and everything. Every kill you got those numbers and stuff like that. The music, the leveling up was so consistent in Modern Warfare 3. I really loved Modern Warfare 3's progression. It's like you were always getting something every match. I don't know what it was. With Modern Warfare 2, I didn't feel it. Modern Warfare 2 was kind of weak for me because I played Modern Warfare 3 first, and then I went into like literally years later. I went into Modern Warfare 2 with my friends on PC, and it didn't feel as good. I don't know, maybe it's just I grew out of Call of Duty at that time. I never played the Modern Warfare 1, but Modern Warfare 1 people say it's the best, so. But to me, Modern Warfare 3 was the most enjoyment I had with video games in terms of multiplayer. And I don't play multiplayer, so that's the only video game actually. Coincidentally, I played quite a bit of The Last of Us multiplayer for the trophies, and I had fun. This game has a pretty nice multiplayer, I have to say. And we're almost reaching the end of the video. I know I don't talk a lot about gameplay, because, I mean, this is not a guide. I always say this in every video. This is, in first place, this is not a guide. If this was a guide, I would make this a walkthrough, like in the title, put a walkthrough, and I would like include more, because especially in survival horror games, you really need that. You really need to know what you're doing in the exploration, or where you need to go, where you need to pick up if you want to be successful. This is not a guide. This is just me showing my run and commentating over it and talk about stuff, the random stuff, while looking at it. It's Leafy stuff. It's literally Leafy style, but less toxic. And of course that, I'm going to talk a bit what I'm doing, especially if the section is a little bit tricky and I'm proud of what I did. I'm going to talk about it, but the most part, every game, at least, of course, I'm talking for myself. Once you get the gist of it, you understand it. You don't need like me spoon feeding you everything, like do this, I'm going to repeat myself and say do this and do that, flinch animation, do this, stun. It's always the same thing. I explained the general idea in the beginning of video, and you get it, unless there's something specific that I do in an encounter that is very tricky, I will explain it. But this is not, especially this one. This one is, I guess, the first time you encounter stalkers, but stalkers in this game, they can be aggressive sometimes, they sometimes can be a little bit passive, but if you have enough breaks, use them, because you do not engage on melee with stalkers. Even if there's only one, do not engage in melee with them, because stalkers are very fast. They will have the priority. Let me see more things. What I was talking about, yeah, about this is not a guide, but yeah, I know people will have a problem with that. I know everyone has a problem with anything, you know. But this is how I like to do things, you know. If there's anything worth talking about, I mean, at least to me, I will talk about the gameplay. If you don't like that, there's a lot of other, you know, walkthroughs for this game. There's a no damage run for this game, and commentated to by the Godfather Dictator. Is very good. He plays this game stealthily, though. He didn't do the action game, so my playstyle was a little bit different, and is, you know, I guess you could see more of a variation if you watched mine too. But if you like more of a walkthrough kind of thing, you can see him doing it, and he does live commentary. I guess that's good if you want to get more in depth of what he's doing, because, you know, in live commentary you're more focused on what you're doing in the game. When I recorded my Tomb Raider, I was more. You notice that I didn't talk about other stuff, and that was a waste of a smoke. Do not do that, by the way. You don't need to fight the bloater. But yeah, you can see the Godfather Dictator. I think he did no damage. Is there any other? I don't know any other people that did no damage. But if you were looking to no damage or just grounded in general, Seraphim 17 did grounded. I remember it being good. And you can search for other people. I don't know if they commentate, but just search for other people, you know. Let me see. What I think ID. I remember. I remember his name. ID 4300. It's 4300. Okay. I'm not really good with username with numbers, but if I don't say 4300, it's kind of ID. It's like, it's best to say, but I had difficulty remember his name, his specific name. But he did it, The Last of Us 2 run, and the video is almost ending, by the way. So I guess, you know, his ID. He did The Last of Us 2. No damage, and he's commenting right now, and he might do The Last of Us 1. So you say subscribe to him, stay tuned for his stuff, and yeah.